Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be discussing another Five Nights at Freddy's theory. And today's episode specifically, we'll be talking about the Afton family and one of their members. Now, the Afton family consists of their patriarch, William Afton, the eldest son, Michael Afton, the younger son, the bite victim, which for convenience I will call Evan, like I always do, and the only daughter in the family, Elizabeth. Now, of course, so you can see that there is somebody missing here. The mother. Where is Mrs. Afton? Well, in this episode of the show, I will attempt to give a statement on what could have possibly happened to her. I'll provide two theories. Now, let me go with the first one, the divorce theory. Here's the evidence for that now. In Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, in the post-night scenes, we watch a television show called The Immortal and the Restless. And it can be easily seen as a parallel to William Afton, Vlad, and possibly his wife, Clara. As Vlad in the show is a man who wears a purple suit and tie, which William is often nicknamed the Purple Guy, as he is typically depicted being all purple. And he is known for his catchphrase, "I always come back," and is known to consistently return even after events that happened to him which should have killed him, like a vampire, because vampires, unless they are exposed to sunlight or stabbed in the heart with a stake, will always live forever. Now, and of course, in one of the episodes of the show, after completing one of the nights in the game, his house is burned down by Clara. His house is a house on a hill, and we know the Aftons lived on a house on a hill. We see it in the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 title screen, and in Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted in the Curse of Dreadbear downloadable content. We see the Afton household very clearly. It's the exact same model of house, exact same placing, everything. It's a house on a hill. He has a son which greatly resembles him. The son looks basically just like him, and basically none of the mother, and has a lot of his attributes as a vampire. And we know Michael Afton greatly resembles his father, as we know that in the Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, the animatronics there, even Elizabeth, who is possessed, even Elizabeth's animatronic suit, Circus Baby, and since Elizabeth is the daughter of William Afton, and the sister of Michael, she still believed that Michael was William Afton. That's how greatly the two resembled each other. And the baby in the series looks just like the father. And the two, and the relationship between Clara and Vlad is falling apart. It's crumbling. It's basically over. As of course, the fathers refuse to take responsibility for a son. Of course, in the end of the series, the two reconcile and get back together, which clearly did not happen in real life in the games because Mrs. Afton never does return. But still, you could use this as a positive to possibly say that she left him, probably sometime prior to the bite of 83, as we see no evidence or no mention of Mrs. Afton even by the time of Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now, of course, why didn't she take the kids, I mean, come on. If you're going to divorce somebody, especially someone like William Afton, you probably would have tried to take the kids. And since he's always working, doesn't do jack squat about his eldest son bullying his younger son, and is always distracted by his work, I could see the courts easily giving Mrs. Afton the favor in the children. So what if something else happened to her? This is where my second theory comes in. He killed her, and her soul possesses one of his animatronics now. Oh, hold on here. Let me give my explanation. In night 2 of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, you have to make your way through Blora's room. Now, by this point in the game, they know for certain there is somebody there. There's a new worker there, and they believe that new worker is William Afton, even though it's really Michael Afton. Now, while you're making your way through her room, she sings a very specific song, and I will read you the lyrics to the song. Now, hold on now. Here it goes. Why do you hide inside your walls when there is music in my halls? All I see is an empty room, no more joy, an empty tomb. It's so good to sing all day, to dance, to spin, to fly away. And in Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night, one of her lines after she kills you is the following, quote, why do you hide inside your walls? End quote. And just like one of my earlier theories about William Afton putting the song back together, clearly that song is meant to be directed towards William. And of course, we know we're playing as William in Ultimate Custom Night. So that gives you more creativity that this song was directly made towards him. She's talking about him. And these things are most certainly possessed, because the only option to be just really rogue AI. And that Multi Freddy is just a really rogue AI as well. But we don't really see rogue AI until Security Breach. Before that, they're all possessed. The DCI, the MCI, the puppet, everything, really. And these things are made to capture children. That was the whole point of this place. They're to capture, kidnap, and kill children. They were circus babies made of a claw. One of them's already possessed, They were made to capture children. Funtime Freddy had the whole thing in his chest. The whole children. They can mimic sounds of children. Mimic sounds, mimic smells, all kinds of things. It just makes a lot of sense that these things were possessed just like the other ones. And well, it seems a bit too knowledgeable for this to be a random spirit. This is just some kid who got killed, especially for assuming that this is a child who's possessing Ballora. And this can easily be interpreted as being about William after the bite. Why do you hide inside your walls? Could easily be interpreted as William locking himself away and hiding away in his early days of experimenting, trying to figure out a way to bring back his son. Like I said in my previous episode, he's hiding himself away, spending all this time working, trying to bring his son back to life instead of being with his family that's still alive. So he's still got Elizabeth, Michael, and his wife. He's still spending his time locked up, trying to figure out a way to bring his son back to life. No more joy, an empty room, and the line, all I see is an empty tomb. And of course, all I see is an empty room can easily be interpreted as Evan's room after he dies. There's nobody in the room anymore. It's unused. Not like you're gonna have one of the kids move into it or anybody else move into it. Just leave it there. And of course, no more joy. An empty tomb could be the house itself, the Afton household, because again, because in that exact same game, in the Immortal and the Restless show, when Clara burns down Vlad's house, she calls it like a crypt. She uses a crypt basically. It's either a crypt, tomb, or mausoleum. One of the words she uses to describe the house is like one word for a graveyard or whatever. That could be the house, because it's very easy to see a parallel with William Afton and Vlad, and maybe his wife Clara, maybe his wife, maybe that was her name, and maybe somewhere along the way, William murked her, because there's a very high chance that in Ultimate Custom Night, the souls of the children are being held there to continue to torture William personally. Because, Nightmare Fredbear said something very, very specific. That's something only somebody who heard William say that to them would know. That's something that that William said to them. Let me put you back together so I can take you apart all over again. He only ever said that to Evan. And who else would have heard it besides Evan in his last moments? And of course, and with a chick it says, I was the first, I've seen everything. So very clearly, the souls of these people are being held here. But that's beside the point. The fun times are clearly possessed, and the way the song is, and we know it's meant to and it can very clearly be meant to be a song directed towards William, because she restates one of the lines in Ultimate Custom Night. It's just a bit too direct for anybody else than just for to be a random spirit. And it sounds like somebody who was personally there at the house, who was really there. You know, he locked himself away, hiding away. He had to work on his project to bring back his son. You know, the house, there was nobody lived in Evan's room anymore. The house was, you were like a tomb, no more joy in it, because there's a death in the family, and maybe somewhere along the way he murked her, he axed her. Maybe she was gonna leave him. You know, psychopaths and narcissists, they're very possessive people. They see like their children and people like that as property, and with like significant others, like spouses, stuff like that, they are very possessive about, and do see them in a kind of a similar way, basically. Yeah, and so it could easily been tried to divorce her. Maybe she found out. Maybe she was getting a little bit too close to his trail, because William had to have presented these creations, his fun times, to a board of people, because we literally hear it in the start of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. He's presenting Circus Baby, and they say, those are not the things we're asking about, Mr. Afton. We're not asking about that. Clearly, they're asking about like the giant claw hand that's grabbing out. So maybe she found those, or maybe she heard about it, because at least some people out there besides him knew about these features and saw it for themselves, and they were drawn down in blueprints. So it was very easy that she saw them, realized something, and when he knew that she figured it out, he killed her, and her soul possessed Ballora. That's basically what I gotta say, really. So I'll see you around later on, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah. Bye, have a nice time.